What's up guys, it's Jay with Bearded Dad Fishing, and I've been using GoPros for years for my fishing and my filming. But the freezing, the glitching, the overheating has got me looking for something better for quite a while. So I recently picked up the Insta360 X5 and Ace Pro 2 to see if these can replace GoPro as my main fishing action camera. So we'll look into both of these, take a look at the specs. But first, dad joke of the day, what do you call a factory that makes good products? A satisfactory. So we're going to look at 8 different categories as we look into these cameras: specs, ease of use, the app experience, accessories, weather resistance, battery life, fishing specific advantages, and pricing. So let's get into the specs of both of these cameras. They're both different from one another, and if we're comparing apples to apples, the Ace Pro 2 is going to be more of your side-by-side comparison to the GoPro Hero 13, 12, 10, etc. The X5 is the 360 camera. So that said, it functions differently than the GoPro Hero 13, but it's closer more to the GoPro Max, which is their 360 camera. As far as the X5 goes, it shoots in 8K, so huge file sizes, and it's 2 cameras, so you're recording both at the same time, and that's double the 8K footage. So you need a lot of storage space to process this footage. That said, recording in 8K offers a lot of flexibility as far as zooming in without losing resolution later on in post. The Ace Pro 2 also shoots in 8K, and it has a high frame rate as well. You can shoot as high as 240 frames per second in 1080p, which means you can get some really amazing slow motion shots. Even in 4K, you could shoot at 120 frames per second. So that's a lot of frames, that's a lot of flexibility in the type of shots you're trying to get. Both of these cameras have what Insta360 calls pure video, which is an AI enhanced low light enhancer essentially. So they work fantastic in low light, and both models have horizon lock, but I think that's going to be a bigger selling point on the Ace Pro 2, which means that if it's rocking while you're on your boat or your kayak, it locks into the horizon. Again, using AI enhanced chip, basically steadies it completely. So you can even spin this thing fully around and it'll stay locked in, showing the same orientation the whole time. Of course, there are other specs, but this is not a deep dive per se into either one of these. But now let's look into the ease of use. The Ace Pro itself is super beginner friendly. If you're familiar with ever using a GoPro or any type of action camera, you're gonna be looking at the Ace Pro 2 and be very familiar right off the bat. It's just a couple buttons. You have your power button and your shutter button, and that's it. Everything else is done right on the actual screen itself. And speaking about the screen actually flips up and you can see yourself right there, kind of that selfie mode, recording yourself for vlogs or for YouTube videos or what have you. So that's a nice touch. The menus are incredibly easy to use. You can get to the quick menu on the side. If you swipe up, that's where you can change your resolution and your frame rate, your aspect ratio, all that stuff. If you swipe from the left, then you'll see the footage that is stored on the SD card. And then if you swipe down, you get your main settings. The touchscreen itself is also very responsive as well. When you pick, it moves quickly, and there's not a lot of lag, like I said, and that's a huge benefit over the GoPros. Now the X5 is also touchscreen, and the menus work the same way. You swipe from the left to get the footage, you swipe from the right to get some of the menu options, you swipe down to get the main settings, and then up to change your frame rate, your resolution, all that good stuff. So as far as using one or the other, the menus appear the same way, so it's very easy to navigate. However, being that this is a 360 camera, there is a little bit more of a learning curve and adjustment to using one. The great thing is, on one hand, using the X5 is easier because it's capturing at all times. So it doesn't matter if the camera's up here, down here, how far it is from you, it's capturing everything in 360. So that's easier, but manipulating that footage later on is where it gets a little bit more complicated as far as learning it, which we'll talk about in the app experience. That said, I think they both are great for anglers just starting out, particularly though the Ace Pro 2, there's less of that learning curve. So if you don't really want to mess around with learning, filming, and jumping into the specs of a camera, the Ace Pro 2 is the easier option to get, and you you can just get it, start filming, and keep on fishing. Now let's look at the app and how easy it is to use. The good news is that this app from Insta360 works with both cameras. So if I have my Ace Pro 2, I can easily connect it to here, use this as a remote, view what the camera is showing on my phone, and then turn that off and then start doing the same thing with my X5 without having to disconnect one or the other. It's great that they both function just as easily and flawlessly on the app. That said, it was very easy to connect both of them. As soon as I turned them on, I was able to connect them very easily. The instructions were fluent. Unfortunately, I didn't have that same experience with GoPro. When I tried to connect it to the GoPro app on my phone, it was glitchy, it wasn't showing. Sometimes it would connect, other times I had to completely disconnect and repair it to my phone. It was a pain in the butt. So to show you a little bit of how it works, I just hit the connection button. It knows that my Ace Pro 2 is on, so it's gonna connect. You hit join, and then it starts kind of figuring out and loading up what's on the actual screen, and you can use it as a remote. So now it's showing me what's on my Ace Pro 2, like my face right there. So it's very fluid. There's not a whole lot of lag. So if you've got this on your boat all the way in the back, you could just pull this up, hit record, trim your footage, all sorts of things. Besides being able to use the app as a remote, it also allows you to edit your videos. So when you're done filming and you go to charge your camera at the end of the day, it'll upload your videos to the cloud if you want it to. Now it does that for free up to a certain storage amount. After that, you have to pay monthly, which I think it's after 200 gigs, which with the X5, that'll fill up really fast. But editing on the app is very fluid. So if you hit the album button, you're able to see all the footage that you have in the cloud, both from the Ace Pro 2 and the X5, and then you can edit it right in there. Now this is a little bit more necessary when you're talking about the X5. Because it shoots in 360, you have to go in here and start adjusting how you want it to look, because it records from all aspects. You can turn up and down, sideways, around, and everything. So you have to kind of set it how you want it. You can have it track yourself so that if you're walking back and forth, it tracks you, which is actually a really cool feature. And it also has a ton of other editing capabilities as well, including AI editing. So you can just select a couple clips that you may have recorded, and it'll allow AI to edit it, pair it with some music, and do some really cool things with it. Now, if you're a content creator, you can switch the aspect ratio. So instead of having it in 16:9, which I have here, I can easily switch it to 9:16, and now everything I record on here or set as a clip to export will be perfect for short form content, shorts, or reels on Instagram. The AI tools are pretty beginner friendly. Of course, it helps if you know already, but even if you don't know coming into it, you can play around with it rather easily. I didn't know at all how to use the 360 capabilities of the X5. And of course, you could always find tutorials on YouTube and elsewhere for both of these cameras and the app. So overall, as far as the app, super responsive, easy to use, and I like it a lot better than the GoPro app. Now, as far as mounting and accessories go, I think Insta360 nailed it on both of these cameras. They really thought through the interchangeability aspect, because the one thing I dislike the most about GoPro is the fact that if I want to take off the mod case, I gotta unscrew the little two-prong thing on the bottom, pull that out, take off whatever attachments I have plugged in, and then slide out the camera, then change the battery, and then do everything back again. It's really annoying, and Insta360 really thought this thing through. So on the bottom of the X5, they have a 1/4-inch hole for mounting on all your standard type of camera equipment, but it also has a quick release system. So it has 2 holes on the bottom, 2 holes on the top, and what that allows you to do is takes a quick release mount that Insta360 sells, and you can clip it right in there. And this adapter actually is the 2-prong adapter that GoPro uses. So it allows you to use any of the GoPro accessories, the chesty, the head cam, any of that stuff, and still use all those accessories with Insta360. They have several mounts with that quick release system, so you can have it on all your most used accessories, and that way you can just plop it from one to the other. Doesn't matter if it's the X5 or the Ace Pro 2. Insta360 also has the what they call invisible selfie sticks, and it's invisible because on the 360 it sits in the little spot that's right outside the frame of view, so that when you're holding it up, you can't actually see the stick at all, which is pretty sweet. The Ace Pro 2 has a lot of the standard accessories that GoPro has for theirs, but the Insta360 version. So they do have the chest mount, the head mount, they have the e-bike mount, all types of things. One of my favorite accessories for the Ace Pro 2 is the cage that it comes with. So it's like the mod case for the GoPro. However, I like it a lot better because it goes on and then you don't have to take it off to make changes. So if you want to change out the battery, for instance, it has a battery door that opens up and then you can take out your battery. You don't have to worry about having to take all your accessories out and de-rigging the whole thing to change a battery. Another really fantastic accessory is the Mic Air. It's a little microphone that you can wear on your hat, you can wear it on your chest. It has a little magnetic base. It even comes with a lanyard as well if you just want to hang the microphone off your neck. And being super small, it stays out of the way. It connects via Bluetooth to either the X5 or the Ace Pro seamlessly. I was able to connect it within a couple minutes of opening the box. One of the most important accessories though for both of these cameras in the fishing world is going to be these all-weather charging doors. So what this allows you to do is replace the little door that covers the charging port on both the X5 and on the Ace Pro 2 and allow you to plug it in so that it can charge while it's recording. So you can run it the entire time you're on the water without having to change out your batteries, run out of batteries, drop a battery in the water, all those fun things. They're incredibly cheap. I believe one is 15 bucks and one is 20, but it goes right on there and it's actually weather resistant. It's not weatherproof, you can't submerge it, but if you get a small sprinkle of rain, you won't have to worry about your camera getting ruined. There's a ton more accessories we're not gonna go through. Those are just some of my favorites, but overall, I think the Insta360 ecosystem of accessories is just leaps and bounds smarter and better than GoPro. Now let's talk about the durability and weather resistance. Both cameras, the Ace Pro 2 and the X5, out of the box are completely waterproof, which means they can be fully submerged. The X5 is rated up to 15 meters and the Ace Pro 2 is rated up to 12 meters. So being that it's waterproof, naturally it's a perfect fit for boaters, for anglers, for kayakers, whatever it is, it's great for that option. But remember, if you switch out the charging port door so that you get all day power, it no longer is submersible, it's not waterproof, it's weather resistant. I also haven't had any overheating issues yet, but the jury's still out because I'm still messing around with it, and it's gonna depend if it's gonna be in direct sunlight or shade and super hot days or not hot days. So I'm still testing that out, so I can't tell fully if it won't overheat, but so far I haven't had that issue. Overall, the weather resistance is right on par with GoPro because GoPro's also waterproof, but I do think the feel of it in your hand, it does feel a little more robust and heavy duty versus the GoPro. The GoPro feels a little bit more plasticky versus both of these options. Now let's talk about battery life. If you're running all day power on your boat, then obviously you don't really care about battery life. However, we're not always running all day power. Sometimes we're just strapping it to our chest and going to hit the bank, hit the shore, whatever it is. So how do these fare on battery life? The Ace Pro 2 is rated for 180 minutes at 1080p. However, most of us shoot at a higher resolution, like at 4K and the 8K that's available on this camera. So if you're shooting at the higher resolutions, you can expect a little bit in drop in battery life. The X5 is rated for 208 minutes at 5.7K. 208 minutes to run both of these cameras at 5.7K. That's really impressive. The battery is rather big, and like I showed you earlier, the battery door is on the side. The door cover itself is actually included on the battery. So I think that does allow it to fit a slightly larger battery in this camera. One really cool feature about both of these cameras is they come with hypercharge, which means these can charge from 0 to 80% in 20 minutes. That is incredibly fast. I haven't seen anything nearly as fast on any other cameras as far as being able to charge it quickly. Overall, compared to GoPro, both of these have a better battery life. Now let's talk about the fishing specific wins, or in other words, the advantages towards us anglers with both of these cameras. Of course, with the X5, with the 360 view, I think this is gonna be the best option for anglers if they're only trying to get one camera. Some guys run multiple GoPros, and that's great, but that means you have to multiply the amount of footage you get by each additional camera. With the X5, you're recording on one camera and it's 360 degrees. So you don't have to worry about having one in front of you, one behind you. You just station one and you can pretty much bet that you're gonna get the shot you want when you need it. In addition to getting the 360 field of view with the X5 also allows you to change the aspect ratio on a snap because it's capturing everything. It's really easy for it to go vertically for short form footage or horizontally for long form footage. So you don't gotta worry about having the camera like this for your long form, like this for your short form, you could just bet that it's capturing all the time where you need it. As far as the Ace Pro 2 goes, as I said earlier, if you're familiar with any action camera like GoPro or DJI, then you can bet this one is gonna fit that exact need. So if you want something on the bow of your boat, if you want it on the stern, right behind you, over the shoulder, then this is gonna fit exactly what you need. If you wanna have it on your chest with the chest mount, then this camera is gonna be great for that as well. So switching from one of the other brands to the Ace Pro 2, there's gonna be essentially no learning curve. Another fishing specific win is the horizon lock that comes on both of these cameras. Sometimes the water gets choppy, the wind kicks in, and you don't have to worry about the footage being crooked or wavy. It's gonna stay straight exactly how you intended it, even when the chops pick up. Another fishing specific win is, again, the Mic Air. This is only 50 bucks. And clear audio is even more important than clear video. You want to be able to hear everything you say all the time. So if you're walking from the front of your boat to the back of your boat, if you have this wireless lavalier mic attached to you on your body, you're gonna get the good audio no matter where you are on your boat. Another win for anglers is the magnetic quick mount system. If you're trying to switch your camera from your chest mount to your boat mount to your tripod, these make it possible in a snap. And I mention this again because it's so contrary to GoPro's cumbersome system of having to screw, unscrew, unmount, remount. This makes it 100 times easier to switch across your accessory. Of course, the all-day power for anglers is super important. I hate switching out batteries when I'm on the water. So getting those little charging doors so that you can charge it all day long is a huge win. And lastly, something I didn't mention yet is that both of these cameras have what Insta360 calls reverse charging, which means if you're out on the water and your phone is dead and you have no way to charge it, you can actually use the cameras as a power bank to charge your phone. So then the power current goes from the camera to your phone, allowing you to essentially have backup power to your phone, which is critically important. And lastly, let's talk about the all-important pricing, because all this is fine and dandy, but we got to pay for it, right? Now the X5 starts at $549. Now that's the base standard pricing. However, they have packages that bring the price up a little bit more. The content creator package, the selfie stick package, things that come with different accessories. But for the camera itself, out of the box, it's $549. The Ace Pro 2 starts at $399, making both of these cameras more expensive than their GoPro counterpart. However, if you ask me, I think that the benefits far outweigh the difference in price. The GoPro Hero 13 is around $360, so only a little bit cheaper than the Ace Pro 2. And the GoPro Max is $250 currently on sale, but that's because it's several years old. I think it's 3 or 4 years old at this point. So you're talking about technology that's a lot older versus the X5, which just came out a couple weeks ago. So bottom line, I wouldn't consider these cameras budget cameras, but they're not so far out of the realm of pricing of what you're seeing from DJI and GoPro. And I do think that the benefits of both of these cameras outweigh the difference in price of those brands. Let me know in the comments below what camera you guys are currently using when you're out fishing, and if you don't have one yet, let me know which one you plan on buying. And if you guys want to see how I made $63,000 on YouTube in just 30 months, check out this video right here. So until next time guys, peace and God bless.